Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Yura and we are back in Rush Duelings for the first video of the new year. That's right, Yura's back in 2026 and I've got tons of plans coming up. But we're starting off the year nice and kind of disappointing, I won't lie. We're talking about Red Eyes today, the new deck build box released a couple of days ago for Rush Duelings, and it's got Red Eyes and not much else. I'm gonna eventually have a video sometime published that is gonna be me talking about like set design and why the Red Eyes deck build box is so kind of like bad. But for now, at the very least, we have some new cards to play with, and unfortunately for me, I do actually really like Red Eyes. I think the Red Eyes stuff in Rush Duel is really interesting. It's just kind of a shame that the stuff that we got for Red Eyes is not the greatest. It's kind of like the most do-nothing parts of the archetype for the actual paper game. That said, I actually, full transparency, I recorded this video a couple of days ago and then was not really happy with how it came out. I was playing a different version of this deck. I was playing it more pure. And then the ban list dropped and the format like objectively changed before I even had a chance to like get in the tank and edit the video. So I figure why not re-record it, playing a slightly different build that has honestly been a lot more fun. I've had a lot more interesting games with it, and I think it does generally plays a little bit nicer than the pure build. Specifically, we are playing the new Spectre of Heaven's End and Spectre of Heaven's Beginning to go into the Contact Fusion Enigmatic Princess of Eternal Heaven. Just because this deck already puts a bunch of bodies in the graveyard as it is, and having ways to extend out of the graveyard without needing to like worry about specifically needing to find exactly Showdown Scar Archfiend or the newly unlimited Secret Order is really nice. So as with all of my Rush Duelings deck profiles, we're going to go top to bottom, talk about the skill first, then go through the card by card, and then kind of talk about a general game plan for what this deck is trying to do. So starting off, we've got Black Skull Rising, a brand new archive skill that is kind of just a consistency skill, and that is it. That is all this skill does. But it is a far cry above the previous Red Eyes skill, Black Dragon Rising, and it reads, for a requirement, we can reveal a Red Eyes Black Dragon, summon to Skull, or change Slime Skull Dragon mode from our hand from turn 2 onward if all the level 5 or higher monsters in our constructed deck are Red Eyes Black Dragon and Showdown Skull Archfiend. Before we actually talk about the effect though, I do want to really quick mention that this skill is going to be outdated pretty much the second we get any additional Red Eyes support, which leads me to believe that we're not going to get Red Eyes support anytime soon, and that is so disappointing because I love the Red Eyes cards, but it's really like the Meteor Dragon side of the deck that's really interesting. So this is just kind of what we have to work with. But the actual effect is pretty decent. We get to add 2 level 7 monsters from among Red Eyes, Moondragon, and or change Slime Skull Dragon mode from our deck or graveyard to our hand, then send a card from our hand to the graveyard. Another quick note, this effect reads completely incorrectly. What this effect actually says is we can add 2 monsters that are either level 7 monsters or Red Eyes Moondragon and or change Slime Skull Dragon mode from our deck or graveyard to our hand, then send a card from our hand to the graveyard. Functionally, it reads, if there are any of these 4 in your deck, you can add them to their hand and then discard a card. That's it. That's what it reads. I don't know why this is worded the way that it is, but it literally doesn't make any sense because Moondragon and Change Slime are not level 7s. It's very strange. As for the actual deck itself, though, we might as well start off with the level 7 targets. We've got Showdown Skull Archfiend, who is probably the least do-nothing card apart from exactly Change Slime, and it reads, this card's name becomes Summon Skull while in the hand or graveyard, and for a requirement of sending a card from our hand to the graveyard, this turn, this card's name becomes Summoned Skull. Then you can special summon a level 7 or lower normal monster from our graveyard face up to our field. A couple of things about Showdown Skull Archfiend here. So Rush Duel only lets you play a single legend monster, and Summoned Skull is also a legend monster. So this is legitimately the only way that we currently have of actually making Black Skull Dragon or Bull Old Dragon, because this name is just not meant to be black. I don't know why they did this, but this is our only way of getting Summon Skull into rotation because we can't play 2 legend monsters. The revive effect is actually really not bad. It is kind of a pseudo secret order if you actually have the hand discard fodder, which this deck can kind of find, especially if you already have like some cards on the field that survived a turn, which is why we're on so many trap cards. We also have a Red Eyes name replacer, Red Eyes Moondragon, whose name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon while in the hand, and has a continuous effect of if this is used as material for a fusion summon, this card name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon. This is probably the most do-nothing card in the entire deck. It is functionally just Red Eyes Black Dragon on a level 4 body, and that's it. That's literally all this card is. Change Slime Skull Dragon mode is the real star of the show. It is a level 4 Aqua, which can turn on some funny little additional variants of the deck, like the Aqua stuff. You can play Cornful Charity to, like, if you already have Aquas in your hand, you can add Change Slime Skull Dragon mode, discard the other Aqua, summon the Change Slime, and then activate Cornful Charity to get a draw to. That's pretty interesting. I have not found a version of the deck that I personally have liked, so we're not playing it. But Change Slime is our only way of actually fusing in the deck. You can send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard in order to fusion summon a monster that mentions Summon Skull or Red Eyes Black Dragon as material by sending monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard as material. Really, really solid card. Fantastic thing that we have access to. Unfortunately, it is kind of a choke point for like Shiny Shady. Thankfully, you can play around it a little bit by just like tributing off a shadied Change Slime, because typically if your opponent is going to shady you, they're not going to wait for you to tribute summon a Showdown Skull Archfiend. They're just going to shady the Change Slime. So you can extend a little bit past that. We're also on 2 of another new card, Legendary Magician, who is really solid for doing additional extension and is also a great reason to discard the vanilla Red Eyes Black Dragon for the skill requirement, because Legendary Magician can just add it back. Specifically, Legendary Magician reads, for no requirement, you can excavate 3 cards from the top of your deck and show them. Then you can send a monster among them to the graveyard, then shuffle the rest of the cards into the deck, and then add a legend normal monster from your graveyard to your hand. I've seen some people add a Luster Dragon with this and a couple of other decks, like a generic pile with the new Polglace Spears, I think that card's name is. But in this deck, it is a really solid way of recycling our Red Eyes Black Dragon for additional fusion plays, or if we need to extend into, like if say our board gets shadied, we can just tribute summon it, and it's like a fine 2400 body. We're also on the Specters. I kind of already mentioned them. They are both graveyard setup and extension, and also graveyard interruption. They are really, really solid, and I've really been loving them. Spectre of the Heaven's End is the simpler of the two, who just reads, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and then send an excavated card to the graveyard, then shuffle the remaining cards into the deck. And Spectre of Heaven's Beginning is, during the turn you normal summon this card, special summon a zombie type monster with 1200 attack and 0 defense from your graveyard in face-up defense position. Then, if you special summon Spectre of the Heaven's End by this effect, you can also shuffle 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard into their deck. This is a fantastic effect. Not only does this turn on the contact fusion immediately, because the only zombie target that we actually have is Heaven's End, but beginning shuffling back 2 is phenomenal for interrupting our opponent's plays. There are a lot of decks in the format that care about having specifically named cards in the graveyard to like make their additional extension plays work. I'm thinking like Gradius, you can shuffle back options. You can shuffle back like Light Galaxy targets, specifically like Galactica Oblivion, so they can't do fusion plays. You can shuffle back a lot of stuff that just makes this really, really fun. I adore this card, and I also adore the fusions monster that they make, because it is literally just a 1700 direct attacker, and that's it. Very, very cool card. This card on its own can really put the pressure on your opponent to like interrupt your plays at a suboptimal moment, because while this card on its own does not clear a lot, it is still worth an interruption most of the time, because 1700 direct damage is not nothing. We're on the vanilla Red Eyes, of course, and we're also on the newly unlimited Secret Order. I've actually been trying to find a new Limit 3 that I want to play in this slot. The unfortunate thing about Limit 3s in this format is there aren't that many of them that are worth playing. In the monster slot, I think there's exactly nothing that we care about, except for maybe Siesta Terroro, which is like fine. I don't hate this card, but I don't know if we need it. And then on the spell trap side, there's exactly one target that I really care about, and that's Overrush Storm, which is maybe worth considering, but you'll see that we're actually not on any back row removal, because this deck is kind of weirdly good into a lot of the popular back row. The only thing that it's really bad into is exactly like Widespread Ruin, but for things like Shiny Shady and Executed Riding, this deck doesn't really care that much, because a lot of our big attackers are vanillas. We're also on a Hammer Shot as our legend spell of choice. This could be Pot of Greed if you wanted to swap the combos out for Trap Hole. I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth between these 2 different sets of legends. Currently, I'm liking Hammer Shot. It's just a way of outing a big guy, but this could just be Pot of Greed. It's fine. We're also on Double Curse of the Rising Light. I've experimented with 3. Prior to this, I was playing 3 Curse of the Rising Light, 3 Shady, and All-Seeing Harvey to out like big defense position monsters. The problem with that is there are not a lot of decks that are actually running around right now that have decently high defense stats for Harvey to actually hit. It doesn't hit Gradius. It doesn't hit, I don't think it hit Aqua either. I think they all have 1,000 defense. So Harvey's felt kind of like do nothing. So I'm swapping off of that to the Spectres, which I think do a little bit more. Curse is also just great for extension because of the additional draw 2. I adore this card. It's so good. 1 Compulse, as already mentioned, and then double Executing Righty and triple Shiny Shady. This is one of those decks that if you're playing with an open board after your opponent clears it, it really can't do that much to claw your way back into the game. So we want to play as many interruption traps as possible to really like make sure some part of our board actually sticks around for the next turn, because that's where this deck really shines. Extra deck is extremely simple. Triple Enigmatic Princess and triple of the big vanilla fusion monster. That's kind of it. This deck's main game plan is legitimately just like get a Change Slime Dragon mode into rotation while you have either Moon Dragon or Black Dragon in your hand alongside a Showdown Skull Archfiend. Fuse into your big guy, use any extension that you additionally have, like the Spectres or Secret Order, to get additional bodies onto the board. And because you're summoning big non-effect monsters, you're kind of immune to Shady and Riding, which I think are the 2 biggest trap cards running around right now that aren't exactly legends. I have seen Destruction of the Universe in Aqua, which, small tangent, that is a sick tech. It is actually the thing that makes me want to play Aqua, because I covered the 2 other decks in that box, and then I just didn't cover Aqua because I didn't think it was that interesting. But seeing people play Destruction of the Universe to like modulate their own life points because they're regaining so much anyway is really, really sick. So that list might be coming sometime soon. But really, this deck is fairly simple. Like, it's just kind of like a small aggro deck with a really consistent skill, very easy access to a really large body that a lot of decks can kind of struggle to get over, and just like a lot of back row to back it up. It's a very simple deck. So with all that said, let's see it in action. All right, first game of the day, and I am fearing for my life. Into Zuijo. Okay, so the new ban list has done a couple of really, really sick things, and that is made Dark Galaxy Fusion playable again. I am really hoping we're into that, because even if I lose, I am totally happy by that, because I adore this deck. It's so cool. We're going to set 4, keep the Shady online, because Shady is a really solid card to have into exactly Dark Galaxy Fusion. I'm feeling a little weird about this opener. I do want to keep the Spectre of the Heavens Beginning in hand just in case we don't actually find a good Shady target, because this means we can make our Contact Fusion on the next turn. But there's a very real chance we just die here if our opponent kind of opens the nuts. They got Void Veil Fusion draw. This is one of those decks that I am really considering like to be the one deck that I bring up the ladder for my Cog Climb, just because I love it so much. It is such an incredibly fun combo deck. And I just like love the art on these cards. I think all the fusion monsters are really sick. I think the plays that it enables are really cool. And Dark Hole Device is just a really goofy card. Well, let's see what they got. They got Pot of Greed. So they're working with a 6-card hand. They've already used their fusion draw skill, which they set a Chrysor and drew 1. I imagine they're just going to kind of sit here and think out their turn. They got Pale Rider, which we cannot Shady. Down comes Meteor Larva. This was a addition to the deck that came kind of after the first wave of bans. I'm glad it's kind of stuck around. Oh my lord, that is a crazy mill. That is like legitimately ridiculous. Getting Prophet into the graveyard is really scary. Void Corridor comes down. I assume this is to add either a tribute monster or the Prophet. Yep, here's Chrysor. Chrysor being really big is kind of scary for us, because even if we Shady, it's going to be a little weird to out. I kind of have to Shady this, because otherwise I just kind of risk dying if I'm going to. I just don't want them extending. It was a back row. Okay, that felt good. They hit our Spectre. She wasn't really doing that much anyway. So we got a Curse of the Rising Light, so we can potentially play through that back row, whatever it is. But we need to find a way to turn on our skill here. And we've got it. This is a really, really crazy hand. We're going to reveal Showdown Skull Archfiend. We're going to add the vanilla. And honestly, I want to add another Change Slime. Is that weird? I want to go for double. I think we're going to. We're going to ditch the Red Eyes here. And then we're going to Legendary Magician it back. So we're going to summon out Legendary Magician here. Go for her effect. Reveal, reveal, reveal. We're actually not going to send anything to the graveyard here because we don't need to get the add back. So we're just going to add the red eyes and then flip up the Moon Dragon. We'll go change Slime Skull Dragon mode. They don't have a response here, which leads me to believe that this is probably a battle trap or it's just like a set fusion. Let's just go another Chain Slime Skull Dragon mode. I'll leave this Legendary Magician in attack. It's probably going to be fine. Use these two off. We've got 2 Black Skull Dragons. I'm going to keep the Curse of the Rising Light set. I really should Chronicle one of these. It's nothing. It's probably a fusion back there, which does scare me for following turns, but for right now, we're feeling pretty okay. They don't have a fusion in rotation. They need another Dark Corridor to get the Dark Prophet out of the graveyard. So let's see what they got. 5 new cards. We don't have any back row to really stave this off, but there's a very real chance we don't just die here. Okay, there's Corridor. So this is a really fantastic start for them. They found a fusion. They're going to ditch the fusion to get Prophet because Prophet can just recycle it. Here comes Pale Rider. The thing that I'm really scared of here is, I mean, Apocalypse would be really bad, but they don't have Dark Hole Device in rotation yet. Although that could be what the set card is. All right, here comes Fusion. I'm really glad they don't have the Contact Fusion yet because that card is really scary. Okay, yeah, here's Apocalypse. This card is really, really sick. Extremely scary card. Do they have the Dark Hole Device? Send a card. I assume they do. There's the DHD. Yep. Add back Dark Prophet. There's a very real chance we die here. If that's another Pale Rider, we're kind of cooked. Prophet gets to add back Fusion. Surely it's not another Pale Rider, right? I mean, it could be, actually. They only have 1 in grave. Fusion comes back. Globule. Okay, not... Oh, no, we are dead, I think, right? Because the Globule Fusion revives something. Protostar. Fusion comes down. There's Protostar. Yeah, because they have Dark Hole in their graveyard. They can special summon a level 8 monster. Well, Dark Galaxy Fusion, everyone. This is just kind of what happens when we don't open a trap card. I'm actually glad we got a game like this because this really showcases a big weakness of the deck is that it's very reliant on its back row to survive plays like this. Because otherwise, we don't have any immunities to destruction effects. So even though we get to summon big guys, it doesn't matter. GG's. Let's hit another one. All right, here we go again. Into Yuga. If this is Spellcasters, they actually got a really interesting little nerf where they can't just Ghost Cyclone on you anymore, which I very much appreciate. Not a great hand, but also not the worst thing I've ever seen. We're going to keep the Secret Order in hand as shady fodder. Opening both Legend Magicians is really unfortunate. Oh, okay. I think they just don't have a way to turn on their skill. This is really fantastic for us, actually. Another problem with this deck is it really can't clear set 3 pass without non-engine. We need exactly like Curse of the Rising Light to do it. If they keep this last card in their hand, I have a read that that's shady. Yeah, that's probably shady. Really, really solid opener here. Opener? It's not an opener. Follow-up hand. You know what I mean. We're going to grab you, and honestly, we're going to get the Showdown. Because I want to Tribute Summon it. We're going to ditch this Red Eyes Black Dragon, flip up Legendary Magician, show Legendary Magician, reveal, reveal, reveal. The Curse would have been nice to have in hand. We'll add the Red Eyes, and then we'll go change Slime Skull Dragon mode. Okay, it's not shady, actually, so whatever they have in hand is probably just another low-level monster. Down comes Black Skull Dragon. We'll go the Showdown Skull Archfiend here. And ooh, this is weird. So I want to keep the Hammer Shot for next turn. So I'm going to go Showdown. We're going to ditch the Spectre of Heaven's Beginning and summon out Red Eyes. And then I'll keep the Secret Order in hand for shady fodder. Let's swing in. Strange Witch. Strange Cat. Strange Cat. Okay. 3 cats in the graveyard. 1 random card in hand. That back row was likely a fusion that wasn't doing anything. I assume they're going to find a way to turn on their skill here. Another set card. Mr. Alchemy. Okay, so that was the last card in hand. Oh, Magical Stream. Okay, that makes sense. They hit our Shady. That's fine. Mr. Alchemy goes. They're going to add back a Strange Cat and draw one. Do they have a way to turn on the skill? Even if they do, I'm waiting until they go Witch. Yep, there's Master Excel Road. Let's see what they grab here. They reveal Magician. They're going to add Witch and Fusion, which leads me to believe that they either already have a Fusion and they're trying to go for a double, or they don't. And that's their only way to fuse. Down comes the Witch. I'm actually going to wait. I could just Shady that, but I want to hit both of them. Because I want them to hand rip themselves. All right, there's the Magician. We Shady this. Pitch the Secret Order because it's not doing anything for us. Set both of these. What else do they have? Set card. Okay, that might be another fusion, or it could be like a real back row. Not finding any ways to clear these face downs, which is really unfortunate. So we're just going to get swinging. Negate attack. If it's negate attack or widespread, this is pretty bad. But it's also not the end of the world. Widespread. Okay, that was the old set. We can clear our board. We do still have a Shady. And this potentially opens us up to a decent play next turn. Alchemy. Yep. They're going to add back. Get another draw. Did Master Excel Road get changed to only be once per duel for the double add? I don't think it did. Here comes Arrow Sorcerer. Did not. Okay. I didn't think it did. I'm pretty sure the only skills that got changed were the Cyber Dragon one and the Dragius one. Here comes Fusion. They're going to add the 7-0 Magician back. Pitch a Swordsman of Roadstar. This other Shady is going to go real nuts right now. 7-0 Witch comes down. I'm still going to wait for them to hand rip themselves. Pitch the Magician's Valkyria. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to lose the Heaven's End. Flip you and you down. The main reason I did that is because I want to draw more cards so I can find another Black Skull Dragon. Okay. Full field set. Curse of the Rising Light. No way to make a fusion, unfortunately. So we'll curse here. Flip you up. We want to get at least a little bit of damage in. And I'll set this curse. This is so weird. Part of me wants to summon the Spectre just to like try and get some more damage out. Swing you into you. Oh, it's a Strange Cat. Okay, that was foolish. Swing over you. Swing over the Sevens Road. Not finding a Black Skull Dragon there was really unfortunate. Because I think we still have a decent chunk of... Yeah, we have so many pieces left. We just didn't find them. Talismanic comes down. I don't think they can kill me here. The last 11 cards in our deck right now are like really, really good. It's really a shame that we didn't find the pieces that we were waiting for. Although they don't seem to have a way to turn on their skill. I think a lot of their pieces were in the graveyard. We can lose all these cards. This is totally fine. That's all their magical streams, I believe. Oh, Road Sorcerer is going to be kind of dangerous. Because they didn't shuffle everything back, right? Yeah, they still have targets. Oh, they're just going combat. Not going Sorcerer effect. Okay. That's actually really good for us. Draw 3. There we go. Black Skull Rising. We'll reveal the Change Slime Skull Dragon mode. We'll actually get the guys out of the graveyard. What's our other target here? It's probably another Showdown. Is it? It's probably another Showdown. I might just put it back in the graveyard anyway. Actually, what we can do is we can ditch this Moon Dragon and fuse off the Red Eyes Black Dragon on field. I think I actually like that. We'll go Change Slime. Really? I'm kind of shocked they didn't have a response to that. We'll fuse you off. And then we can go Spectre of Heaven's Beginning. Beginning to revive. And then we can shuffle back. You can have back the cat and the alchemy. Let's put some more bricks in their deck. And then we will fuse. Contact. And then we will secret order back our Red Eyes Black Dragon. And set this Compulse. Let's get swinging. 32 in. 31 in. And they are dead to the direct attacker. Let's go! That's why Enigmatic Princess rocks. GG's. Let's hit one more. All right, third duel of the day. Into Me. 3 different decks today. Oh, it's Gradius. Wow, that's a cool mat. All right. Set. Really cool thing about opening Shady plus Riding is we can Shady away the Showdown Skull Archfiend and then riding it back. So let's see what they got. Oh, they're also just going 3 sets. All right, set the whole hand. That's really good for us. Because that means we get to go Black Skull Rising here. Reveal Showdown Skull Archfiend. We're going to grab the Red Eyes Black Dragon and the Change Slime because we have a Legendary Magician in our hand. We're going to ditch... Ooh, I really want to ditch the Spectre, but it's probably correct to ditch the Red Eyes. Is it? Probably. All right, let's get flipping. Change Slime Skull Dragon mode. We'll fuse off you and you for our good friend Black Skull Dragon. Then we can go Legendary Magician. Reveal. Add back our Red Eyes. And then we're going to go second Legendary Magician. Tribute summon the Red Eyes. Is this correct? Probably. And then we'll set the Hammer Shot. I don't want to fill this last slot for riding purposes. Is that widespread? Negate attack? Oh, it's Hero. Destruction of the Universe. What a cool card. All right, let's see what they got. 5 brand new ones. They didn't use that Legend Trap when they still added our big guy. Really sick. All right, Argent goes. That's honestly maybe even like a fine Shady target, but I think we can do better. Reveal Shady, Tantalum, Sparkman, Clayman. They don't actually get any ad there because they revealed Flame Wingman there. I assume Hero Rush Rising is going to come down, depending on what they have in their hand. Come on, give me a good Shady target. Give me a really good Shady. Elemental Circulation comes down. We're going to reveal Flame Wingman, ditch either an Avian or Burstinatrix. Draw 3, discard 1. Since a Sparkman to the graveyard. Another Elemental Circulation. They're digging. Reveal another Flame Wingman. Sends Burstinatrix. Draw 3, discard. If they Miracle Fusion, I'm going to hit that with Shady. Since Fusion, okay. They don't really need that because they can just go to the skill. What do they got in those 4 cards? They've drawn 6 over the course of this turn. Miracle Fusion is a 1-of, so I'm not too worried about it, but there's a very real chance that they find it. Star Restart's really solid. Put a card back. They're going to reborn a vanilla here. It's Avian, so they're going to try and go for a either Burst Wingman play or a Flame Wingman play, maybe to go into Shining Flare, which is going to be very hard for us to out. Or Voltic Wingman. I wasn't even considering that. Still haven't used their skill, so they do have another fusion in rotation. Over Rush Storm comes down, targeting what? Please be the new set. The new set. That is perfect. Here comes Fusion. And we are going to Shady here. Send a Spectre. Set both of these. See if they have any additional plays. They're going to set a Fusion and an not a Fusion. This could be anything. Really solid opener from us. We have the Direct Attacker as well. We're going to reveal Showdown Skull Archfiend. We're going to get a Moon Dragon and I keep wanting to get a second showdown. We have a change line. We have Moon Dragon. Let's do another showdown. Let's get the one back from grave. And then we're gonna put this Spectre of Heaven's End in the graveyard. Let's go Change Slime Skull Dragon mode. We're actually gonna fuse off this Red Eyes on board so I can secret order it back. But before we do that, we're gonna go Spectre. Spectre Revive. Because they are really close to death here. And we're going to put back you and you. Trying to turn them off from being able to like Miracle Fusion into something crazy. Let's Contact Fuse away. Really wish we had access to, what's it called? My good friend, Curse right now. All right, very real chance that they have Destruction of the Universe still. That card's not limited. They could also have Widespread. Yep, there's the Widespread. Argent's only the turn it's normal summoned, right? Let me double check that. It's not. Okay, I might have to out the Argent. Do I? Do I really? I don't think I do. I'm going to get in for 17. This puts them dead to just leaving a random guy alive. And if they can't out the Spectre, that puts them dead to that next turn. Because that is immune to Destruction of the Universe, I think. Pot of Greed comes down. That's really good for them. I'm going to double check Destruction of the Universe real quick. I don't actually know what this card reads. Is it just Widespread that you pay 3,000 for? I'm going to reveal the Argent. They did find a target. They have the Clayman. Destruction of the Universe. This destroys an attacking monster, but they can't use it again because they're at 13. Now, a Thunder Giant would be pretty scary here because I believe that destroys off of original attack. Lower original attack than this card on either field. Okay. We go Argent again. They did find another Clayman and the Sparkman. 2 Sparkmans, actually. That's a crazy amount of adds. They might just go double Sparkman here. What's my add, or what's my summon back for my riding? Because they don't actually summon guys with that big of attack points. Tantalum comes down. That's fine. They got a 7-card hand to work with, right? 7 cards. Still have a skill as well. Here comes Avion. This bounce from Tantalum is going to be pretty scary. Voltic Wingman's going to come through. I think I'm actually going to let this Tantalum bounce happen. Yep. They milled the Miracle Fusion, which is really nice. Voltic Wingman's going to fuse off. They don't have access to Shining Flare Wingman here. So it's just going to be the Burst Wingman. And this guy we're going to riding. We'll summon back, I guess, Moondragon. Change Slime's probably better. We'll shrink you and you. So they are still going to be able to out probably both of our... they can't out both. This puts them in a really weird spot. The 1800 shrink from riding is so big. First Wingman comes down. They're going to boost something by 1,000. But they either have to out the Red Eyes Black Dragon or they... So they'll have to leave something on our board unless they have another like tribute summon or something. This is close. This is a weird game. Weird game state to be in. Okay, they have Talismanic Sealer, right? That also does it. So they are going to get to clear our board, but we're not dead here. They're going to shrink the Red Eyes here. Set a card. Just go battle. They still have their Legend Trap. Oh, no, they don't. They have out Widespread. We take an okay amount of damage. But I think we're good to just wrap this game up. Heaven's Beginning will absolutely wrap it up. Let's go Black Skull Rising. Reveal Moondragon. We're going to add you and... I don't think the second ad really matters that much here. We'll get the Red Eyes out of grave. We're just going to ditch it again. Let's go Change Slime Skull Dragon mode. This threatens lethal on board. Use you and you. They've got nothing. Could be a dead battle trap. We'll go Spectre of Heaven's Beginning. Summon back end. Shuffle back. You can have this dead Destruction of the Universe and this Overrush Storm that isn't going to matter. We'll Contact Fuse away into Enigmatic Princess. We will set our Moondragon, set our Curse of the Rising Light, and go to combat. Swing over and swing in direct for lethal. 2 games won off the back of Enigmatic Princess. Feels really, really good to be playing this package. Let's hop back to the deck. I want to give some thoughts. All right, back with the deck, and I gotta say, I am infinitely happier with this version of the deck and deck profile than I am with the previous version that I recorded and that will never ever see the light of day. The Spectres are such a phenomenal game closer. This deck in general just has a lot of really fantastic ways of putting up at least a big body backed by some amount of non-engine. Because of the way that this skill works, any part of your main engine means that you get to find exactly at least a single Black Skull Dragon, and when you back that up with things like the Spectres into the Enigmatic Princess, you are in such a fantastic position to put pressure on your opponent. Additionally, I really love the Trap Suite in this deck. Not only does it help us fill our grave with things like Spectre of the Heaven's End, or like a Red Eyes Black Dragon to fuel the Executee Writings, it's just a really, really neat package of cards, and I am absolutely in love with it. I will say, I do think the Legend Spell and Legend Trap are still kind of up in the air. I think this could be, realistically, like it could be Widespread plus Pot, it could be Pot plus Trap Hole. I think there's a lot of things that you could do to like optimize the Legend Suite, except for exactly the monster, of course, because we kind of need Red Eyes Black Dragon. And you could also totally just find like a limit 3 that you want to run. I think there's totally room for that. That said, though, as you saw in the first game, this deck really relies on its non-engine to deal with really aggressive pushes. Things like Dark Galaxy will just be able to run you over unless you find exactly like Shiny Shady, Executee Writing, or Compulse. And while those are like 6 cards in your 30 card deck, it's not impossible to find them. If you don't find them and your opponent does just get a crazy hand, you do just kind of die on the spot because none of your guys have destruction protection built in. There are a lot of vanillas that are on our main end board. So it's a little weird, right? I do think this deck can get significantly better even if we just get the other Black Skull fusion, the like Summoned Skull version instead of the Red Eyes version. That card actually has an effect on it that does something. So maybe we get that. Maybe we get the Red Eyes fusion spell at some point in the future. I think that'd be really cool, but I'm not sure. This deck as it is definitely coggable. Some people have already done it. This list is actually very heavily based on a couple of other lists that I saw floating around. This took the trap heavy focus from the pure build that I was playing alongside the Spectres from a couple of other builds that I've seen and just kind of merged them into one. I think actually right before I went live, I saw a build very similar to this hit King of Games. So I'm very happy to see that like I was mostly on the right track. I think that build was playing like one less Skull Armageddon and was playing an additional Curse of the Rising Light. I think that's totally fine. That's like, we don't need all 3 Showdown Skull Archfiends. I just really want to avoid as often as possible running into the instance where you just don't find engine in your hand to get your skill online, because this deck really relies on its skill to get its fusion plays going. That said, this has definitely been a bit of a longer video because I did play 3 games, but I had a lot of fun and I'm really excited for this upcoming Rush Duel Links format. I think there's a lot of really sick decks around and I'm excited to cover them when I eventually get to them. That said, the next video will probably not be another Rush Duel Links deck profile. It will be the start of my Rush Duel Links Masochist series, which I went live with yesterday as of time of recording, and I had an absolute blast of it. So I'm very excited for that to come out, and I'm really excited to be making stuff for the new year. Streams are definitely on, videos are on. Really excited to be back. So let's make it a good year, and I want to thank everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!